Well, hello, St. John's. September is here. Can you believe it? The autumn has started. Schools are starting. Well, I wanted to send you a quick update about the Sunday services for the autumn. But before I do that, let me share with you some Bible verses. Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 to 25. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. He says here, don't give up meeting, but encourage one another. Encourage one another. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do that because from Sunday, the 13th of September, we are going to meet in person for our Sunday services. Yippee! Our plan is to finish with the Zoom services on that Sunday and to meet every single week with the same rules that have been applying all the way through. But now we can do kids work, and doing kids work will change what we can do on a Sunday. Let me say a few things about that kids work. We are allowed by the government guidelines to have kids work going on at the same time as we have our services. There are different rules for it. We're reading through the various rules and regulations and guidance on that. And there are lots of kind of weird contradictions. Of course, you know, you've got to wear a mask in the service, but when you leave Sunday school, you don't have to wear a mask. All kinds of things with the regulations. But we'll work that out and try and do it as safely as we can. And we'll do a risk assessment, all of those things. There'll be two groups for the Sunday kids work. There'll be group one, which we used to call Crash, which is essentially reception in year one. And then there's group two, which is year two and above. I'm afraid we can't have anything organised for kids younger than reception, but parents can either keep their kids in the service, or we'll have a little area where parents can take their kids out to. We'll see how we go with that, but at the moment I don't think we can organise anything with that. Now, with regard to the adults and families otherwise, we know that we're kind of restricted in our building by our space. It does seem that there's some freedom now to go a little bit closer to one another because we've got face masks, so you don't have to quite keep the 2 metre distance. But so that means we can squeeze a few more people in. But what we will need is every week people will need to sign up. So we're asking people, we'll contact everyone, but we're asking everyone to sign up by Thursday to say that they want to come to church, and we'll contact you, we should be able to get all the regulars into church, into the building, but we still have to have the sign up system because we also want to have a waiting list, and on that waiting list we want to have people who are visitors, maybe people who are less regular. And so if there are spaces, because not all the regulars are coming, we can then contact them on the Thursday or the Friday and say, hey, do you want to come to church? It's a new concept, isn't it? A waiting list for church. So, you know, if you have someone who you think would like to come, you can ask them, you know, do you want to go on a waiting list? And if they say yes, then great. And then they can go on this waiting list and we can contact them and ask them to come. The point with this system is that the regulars will actually be prioritised for the services, but visitors will also have an opportunity to come. And if we're doing this longer term, then we need to think carefully about that because we want to be growing our church, reaching out to people, don't we? Now, for the service itself, kids will stay in the service like they normally would, but will go out for the sermon. As they normally would, and what that means is that the teaching can be more naturally directed towards older people, you know, teenagers and adults. So let me be just kind of super clear. From Sunday the 13th, we will stop our Zoom Sunday school. We'll stop sending out videos for kids. Our evening Zoom services will stop. Our midweek Bible study and prayer times will continue on Zoom because we can't meet in those bigger groups. And there will be no streaming of our services. So it'll be kind of all in person only on a Sunday. Now, let me just say a couple of things about the bigger picture. I think we need to remind ourselves that these restrictions that we're living under at the moment will keep going longer term. I mean, I'm thinking forward to Easter 2021, and I don't think there will be any easing of those restrictions before then. In fact, there may well be further local lockdowns or a national lockdown, in which case we can kind of revert back to using Zoom as we have done. So we need to be thinking longer term about these things, about how we do church together. So I know there's lots of information here. Hopefully that's clear enough. Do come back to me with questions or comments if you want to. Hopefully that feels encouraging. But let's remind ourselves of these verses from Hebrews chapter 10. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. Well, I look forward to seeing everyone very soon.